Well, hey, good morning. It's Thursday. I had to stop and think about it. It's Thursday, January the 21st, and welcome to another cup of coffee with Mr. Larry. So let's just go ahead and jump right in and get started today. Got some stuff I want to cover with you, so let's see if I can make it happen. All right. So I'm still not there. There we go. So, coffee with Mr. Larry, let's get rolling. Today, the national day is National Squirrel Appreciation Day. Now, I know some of you don't like squirrels. I've heard what you call them, and but I kind of like squirrels. And so it's excited to see they get their own national day. Look how excited he is. And anyway, it's all cool. Kind of fun. All right, so here's today's words of wisdom for you. It's impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows. Man, every one of us know examples of that, right? Trying to raise your kids, you know examples of that. And watching the news these days, you know examples of that. And so I'll leave it at that, but it's impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows. So we've been doing a little series on what you need to know because, as I've told you before, I've discovered as I've gotten older and more mature that it's what you don't, what you know. Try that again. What you don't know is what will bite you in the neck. And so my job, I think, is to share some of that information with you over time and to have a little fun while we're doing it. But I want to help you think. All right. So here we go. We've talked about, we're doing this little quick run on the 6 challenges that you face that could turn your retirement dreams into a retirement nightmare. The first one is running out of money, and that is the number one fear that boomers have today. Number one, and it's rightfully so. The average boomer couple goes into retirement with $135,000, and that's only going to create about $600 a month worth of income, and they'll deplete it in 8 to 9 years. Reason number 2 is healthcare costs. Some of you still wanting to fuss a little bit about the numbers, but I'm just the reporter. You're facing over $500,000 worth of healthcare cost if you're 65. If you're a 65-year-old couple today, you will face over $500,000 worth of healthcare cost that Medicare will not pay for, and that's in the form of long-term care. You gotta have a plan. You have to have a plan. There's all kind of ways to make it happen, but you can't wait until you need it before you make your plan. Reason number 3, taxes. Taxes, we're almost $28 trillion in debt as a country. The new proposals for COVID relief will add another almost $2 trillion to that. Somewhere along the way, we're going to have to pay for that. We have doubled our national debt, almost doubled our national debt in the last 10 years. At the same time, we're printing money like it's going out of style. Your dollar today is not worth what it was yesterday. And the tax, we're at the lowest tax brackets this country's been in 50 years, and that will not hold. So you need to be making a plan. And risk number 4 is market risk. We're at the absolute peak of the stock market. We have been on the longest bull run in America's history. We continue to see records set every day. And here's a couple of things I want you to think through today in today's episode. Number 1 is that investors typically have amnesia. We forget when we look at what the stock market is doing today. We forget what it did in 2003 and 2008 when it lost 30, 40, 50% for many, many investors. We forget that. We forget that there typically is a market correction every 7 to 9 years. We forget that. We forget that in March, when COVID first hit, the stock market dropped 30%. Here's the question. Now, let me just ask you, here's the question. Let me get back over here so I can eyeball you. Hang on a minute. Here's the question. When I talk to baby boomers like me, I always ask them 2 questions. Ready? First question is, have you got a little nest egg tucked away somewhere? Great. And so of that nest egg, let me ask you this question. How much of that money are you willing to lose? Well, you know the answer. Not a nickel. A lot of times it's not a blankety blank nickel. I ain't losing nothing. I work too hard for it. It's my money. It's my rainy day money. I'm not willing to lose anything. Perfect. That would be the answer I would expect. Then I ask the second question. So let me ask you, where does that money live today? Well, it's down at XYZ stockbroker house. My stock guy has it. I like him. He's a good guy. He handles it for me. He's got it invested for me. It's in my IRA, whatever the answer is. And so then I ask him, well, wait a minute, I'm confused. You told me, no, the first question was you weren't willing to lose a nickel. But the second question told me that you had your money today sitting in the stock market, the Wall Street casino. Now, how does that work? How does that work? In your mind, how does that work for you? You've got all of that money at risk. You could wake up tomorrow and then 30% of it be gone. Well, the market always comes back. Well, has so far. But in Japan, it hadn't. It's still down. It's down 30 years later. What happens if there's a series of events? See, you can't. I'm talking to you. You got to do it for you. Now, let me just, look, it doesn't have to be that way. There are tools that you can use to move that money out of the stock market. By the way, why is it that we put our money in something that's fueled by emotions? Think about that now. It's fueled by 2 emotions. It's fueled by greed. No, I ain't moving my money. The market's going up and up and up and up and up. Okay. And then it's fueled by fear when the stock market starts down. When the stock market starts down, that's when all of the non-professional investors want to dump. And I get that too. The old smart guy says, how do you buy stocks? You buy low and sell high. Most of us do it backwards. We buy at the high end and we dump it at the low end. There are ways that you can take some of that money, if not all of it, but certainly some of that money, take it off of that risky table, take your gains off of the casino table, and put it into something that's going to guarantee you some growth, an acceptable growth, but never ever goes down, never loses a nickel. You cannot lose with that product. Why wouldn't you want to do that? So, as always, I'm happy to talk. I'm happy to share with you. If you don't talk to me, talk to somebody like me. Somebody who will give you the full story, not just part of the story. All right. So tomorrow we're on Fridays. We're going to do a what the Bible says about money segment, And we will be doing that one tomorrow. Tune in. It'll be sometime around now where we can share a cup with Mr. Larry. Y'all go out there and have a great day, and we'll talk soon.